And welcome back, everyone. We are Three Swords Productions. Sitting here today, I'm Nathan. This is Steven. And we got a fun one today. There's going to be some Garp versus some red-green Luffy.
Ooh, all right.
A little bit of a battle of the two colors there.
Yeah, I mean, I said in a previous video, two color leaders are where you can fall in love with One Piece, and I hope you join us tonight as we do just that. You ready?
Let's go.
Let's switch it over. All right, to kick things off here, I am on the Garp side this time around.
Yep.
Got some YouTube comments in the channel. Nathan doesn't know how to play Garp, so we put it over to me. I've got this. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'm not done playing it, but he said I got to play it. Nobody likes watching you, so...
Ooh.
But I haven't played the red-green Luffy side, so I was actually excited to give this a whirl here.
They're actually both really fun decks to play.
Yeah.
The lines that Garp opens up for itself, if you can Suru or Great Eruption, your opponent's like 8 or 9 drop, you have a lot of flexibility in what you can do.
Yeah.
But similarly on the other side, Christmas Luffy, you have a ton of plays that you wouldn't otherwise think about. I mean, Nico Robin, you can just straight up untap that using your leader ability to attack again and control some board.
Yep.
You can go in with the top end and attack twice with that. You're playing 5-drop Luffy.
Yep.
That's 2 unblockable attacks that you have.
Yeah.
You just have so much flexibility in your leader. They're really fun decks to play.
Yeah, I think if I was looking at this from just like purely 2 decks and I had to choose based on no gameplay who I thought I would win, I think Garp is favored here, just because the sweet spot of like me playing a bunch of 4 or 5 drops and you just saying like, hey, that's a really easy thing for me to remove. Like, that's probably not the best for the Luffy side, but I think it's interesting at least that like we can play this game of I'm going to try and be a little bit more aggressive and see what you're able to get out of.
Yeah, so one fun thing is 5-cost Garp. When I first started playing Black this set, 5-cost Garp was one of those things that I did not think that card was good.
Yeah.
And here I am, like after several gameplays of this Garp leader, I actually think that might be one of the best cards in your entire deck.
It's quite good.
That the recursion there, and then you actually have Borsalinos to protect it.
Yeah.
If you can spend like a couple of turns with that Garp on the table, like it feels really good.
It does, yeah.
And here's his little version. 2-cost Garp can come down, and I actually have the leader that can actually manipulate your opponent's characters without any cards in addition. And it's just going to work right alongside the Garp's natural ability of Don X2. I think this could be a devastating card against Luffy here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're in a little bit of an awkward spot with what our deck is doing here. I can either option to just like straight out jet pistol this thing, or I can just accept that, hey, he'll get some value out of it, and I'll just kind of force the action and attack back on it on the following turn. Play a little bit of out of order here. I think you should optimally not play any characters out before you attack, because Shockwave and Jet Pistol are all options. But thankfully, it's just a great meteor here.
Or when I dropped that card,
yeah, I was afraid.
I
was afraid. I was like, oh no, I misplayed for the camera again on the other side now. Jeez.
No.
But no, instead we're just playing out some characters here. Gonna force the option on what he wants to use his Garp for. It should be the Robin here, but at least now we'll have like a little bit of thing to attack back on, but also something else to do with our turn where we're not worrying about it again on a few.
Right. So we've said it in past videos, whenever you're looking at, do I take down the blocker or do I take down the Nico Robin, it comes down to what is my goal, right?
Yeah.
Is my goal to remove a character, or is my goal to do, specific damage? If it's specific damage, the blocker's fine. But if it's not, you always want to remove the non-blocker, because the blocker's going to take care of itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
At some point it will resolve itself. The interesting thing also is, like on turn 1, I didn't play the Capone gang because I didn't want it just to be like possibly Kobeat or something. So you do have to awkwardly sometimes pick spots with these blockers as well, where you're not just giving up free value. So it's like a bit of a liability, I think, against like these black and purple decks that are easily removable for these blockers.
Yeah, interesting that you play around Kobe that hard. That's really cool.
I don't think it's quite that hard. I think it's just that like, hey, I'd like this as a resource at some point, and I don't need to commit it on turn 1.
Yeah, you are one person that has taught me the value of holding blockers to the very end of the game.
Yeah, right.
So the fact that you value your blockers highly, or that highly, rather, is actually like a sign, of a direction that I should be taking more in my games, and I really respect that. So Nami's going to come down and look at the top 5 cards of the deck,
Yeah.
and we are going to be debating: do we want this Zoro or do we want the promo Luffy here?
I think I opt for going Zoro here. I don't have something great to put in off of this 5-drop blocker law. And that would be a great thing to put in. I could flicker the Nami essentially and pick it up and put it back down.
Yeah.
But that's like okay value. I can just play the Nami next turn for 1 Dawn. Having something in play that is also pressuring my opponent is probably better, I think, in my opinion. So I think I would go for the Zoro here. I also already have counterpower in hand. I already have 2 Otamas, so it's not like we need another 2K at this point.
Right. The other card to consider is 5-cost Luffy in that grip.
There was that consideration. Having one of those is quite good. But I am also staring at this 8-drop in my hand, saying at some point in the game, I'm probably going to be leaning on that a bit more instead of maybe the 5-drop Luffy specifically. And so having more counterpower or something to attack this turn specifically, I think is better.
Yeah, I mean, kind of saying I already have my in-game package, but it's really nice that Nami's going to give you access to an alternative in-game if you're not holding 8-drop Kid.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I like that card in this deck,
Definitely.
of course. And Garp is going to untap here. We are looking at Radical Beam, Otama. Other good plays. I think we have Sakazuki as well. So
yeah, Sakazuki's quite good here.
It really is. We're on 7 Dawn here. That's going to be some flexibility with the Sakazuki.
Looks like that's what we're going for. What are we going to be the pitch here for the hand? What's the hand looking like? It looks like 2 Great Eruptions. Is that what I see there?
2 Great Eruptions and Radical Beam, Otama, and 5-cost Garp.
You just get rid of the Radical Beam like that.
Yeah, I know. It's like this is what I'm talking about. Like, you're going to see those Great Eruptions come in really, really clutch against these decks that have really large in-game finishers like the 8-cost. And so I'm working really overtime here to make sure that I have the outs that I need. And in that situation, I already know I have 3 life right now. Radical Beam's not the card I'm going to need for the end game here.
Yeah.
It's Great Eruption, so I value that higher.
Okay. That's actually reasonable. It looks like you Otama down the Zoro and go for an attack with the Garp on it. Was there any consideration of just like putting 2 Dawn on the Garp, shrinking the Capone gang and killing that while also swinging 5 on it instead of playing the Otama? Oh, you paid 1 Dawn for the Otama. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't use the Garp, but
that's fair.
Yeah, right. Because we want to Sakazuki this turn.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Nope. I am sorry about that. Yeah, that's definitely a better play.
Right.
And I'm just debating on like I could try and protect this. I can counter out now and then use the Capone gang to get out of the attack with the leader. But I think just letting it die is fine. Getting the Garp to attack first is the most important thing. I want to be able to kill that this turn.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be able to then, on future turns, be able to kill something else. So I'm okay with this. If he had attacked with the lead first, there's actually a possibility I might use the Capone gang here to get out of the attack and then force the attack with the Garp. But as is, I think I'm okay with where it's at. And I'll just go ahead and take another one here. We're adding cards to hand so that at some point we can probably play 8-drop. I am aware that things like Tsuru and Great Eruption are his deck. So we're going to try and wait as long as we can before this 8-drop comes down. We don't want to just throw it out because it will just die.
Not one of the
and I'm going to lose my entire turn.
Yeah.
So we want to use the resources in his hand first, and then we're going to try and use that as our last nail in the coffin.
For sure. And I really like the Otama play onto the table on the last turn.
Yeah.
I know we're a bit past that right now, but it's kind of like, hey, I already got rid of my Radical Beam. I don't need the counter power in my hand. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Otama for the exact same.
Yeah.
It's just controlling the board, and that's all that we care about. Nami's going to grab Straw Hat character, the promo Luffy here.
Yep. Adding more 2Ks to hand so that when we eventually do 8-drop, we've got our build up behind us. Looks like I have a Bonnie in hand, I think is the card there.
We're going to come down. We're going to see it. Otama. Otama touches the Sakazuki here, and we are going to...
Jet Pistol is the card.
Jet Pistol come down. Take that out. Now it's a 5K. It's well within the Jet Pistol range. And that's a good way to like level the board out. Now I'm looking at Otama, and I'm holding 5-cost Garp and 2 Great Eruptions, and I'm not feeling too great about where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I really like my position with the Sakazuki. The Jet Pistol comes down and changes all that math. So now we're going to have to contest the Jewelry Bonnie here. Now, fortunately, this is Luffy and not Law, so the board being filled with 1-drops is not as effective.
Yeah, it's not exactly what you'd see from the Luffy side here, but it's doing its best imitation of the other red-green leader.
Exactly. So we have a couple of attacks. We're going to want to get that bounty off the table, of course. And we're going to hopefully see some kind of threat to kind of resolve the table again. Now, that's a smoker, so that is some damage.
Smoker's pretty good, and it's not like I'm escaping anything on my board being a 0-drop at this point.
No, absolutely not. Like, your board really has played into the smoker that I just picked up. That's going to be attacks for 7k, pretty often.
Okay.
Garp comes across. Now, I was willing to use the Otama to attack it, and I think that's probably why you gave it up so easily.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that... if I use the Capone gang, that you wouldn't just use the Otama to attack in on it, so
right.
I'm willing to just give that up completely.
Definitely gonna do that.
I'm actually a little surprised you didn't Otama attack first, honestly. Just because...
So I can go to the face?
Yeah.
Well, my hand is so weak on threats right now that I don't really want to give you that last card. Especially when you have access to blockers, you have access to Bonnie to find blockers. I'm not well suited to give you that last card yet.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I'm considering, so... And we're going to hold 2 Dawn open, and this is, obviously looking at my hand, it doesn't represent anything, but it pretends to, right?
Right.
These are cards now that you have to play around. Are you going to, how are you going to interact with Red Hawks on your turn? All that kind of thing, so.
Red Hawk is definitely something this turn I say, okay, this is like out of a problem if I try and attack a specific way.
Yeah.
So I do just opt to just say, hey, I'm going to attack with this, what do you do? And if it is Red Hawk, you can get out of it. But instead, you don't have anything here. The other thing I consider here is I just saw Great Eruption out of my opponent be played. They don't play like a full set of those or anything, so what can I expect here? And I expect, I think this is about the time that I'm going to try and resolve this 8-drop and try and get out from underneath it. He's got to have like Great Eruption plus removal to get out of this, so we're going to try and really stick this to the board. And
in all fairness, you only need like 1 turn with that 8-drop kid in order to be effective with it. So yeah, I mean, you just saw the answer be played. Now's the time. So I think that makes total sense.
Unfortunately, we do see Great Eruption was still in hand. You had 2 of them, and then we do see there is a 5-drop Garp there, which is very easy to...
There's also a Suru in hand, so you weren't really going to escape it.
Sure.
But there is a lot of ways to reduce it, unfortunately. The 8-drop kid is probably just one of those cards that, like, you are not... This isn't the matchup for it.
It's very possible.
So... it's tough.
Maybe there's a world where I looked at that early Jewelry Bonnie and said, hey, or early Nami, whichever one it was, and just say, like, hey, I could add that Luffy to my hand. Right. That's what I should be leaning on instead.
Maybe to get past, like, Porcelinos and cards like that.
Yeah.
I can respect that, sure.
That's probably a better play.
Come across for 7k here. Let's see how you deal with that. Now, this is a really brutal turn. You are going to take a lot of damage, or you're going to suffer a lot of attacks here, and they're all going to be for 7k. So... First one comes across. Let's see how you deal with it. Looks like you have 1 Dawn open. Not sure what you're going to use it for. Could be Radical Beam.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things out of this deck is that you can play the 8-drop and then back it up with Radical Beams.
Right, that's
that's such a good combo of cards.
Crazy cool, yeah. And in set 1, we actually found that combo with Law as well. Like, very end of set 1 format, we were playing Control Law, which was all about protecting that 8-drop.
So I like that bit a bit, but.
Okay, and we're going to counter out and keep our 1 life here. So 7k comes across, and will we see the Capone block that to keep ourselves at 1?
I think we need to. As you being a deck that can play the 5-drop Luffy, I do have to respect, like, hey, I can't just like lean on this as my way out of the game.
Okay, that's exactly what we see. So now we're hoping that you can clean up the board on your turn and have 1 life left, protect yourself, and kind of stabilize here. But we are looking at a hand of 4 cards. 2 of them are Bonnie, so they're going to fetch other things, but that does cost a lot of your resources for the turn. And if you're hoping to Jet Pistol, that's going to be the last of it.
I think I do have to Jet Pistol here. We're going to have to definitely bring down the number of attackers you're about to have. So Jet Pistoling the Garp seems like an obvious thing. I kind of portion out my mana to be hopefully a Bonnie, a Tap Bonnie, hopefully a Capone Gang as a blocker, and then Jet Pistol out. And then the last 2 Dawn would then be going on an attack for Smoker, but unfortunately he does have counter in his hand at this point. He was able to get out 1 of those attacks, so one of these Smokers is probably going to get through.
I do let that go, and that's honestly kind of a mistake. I can't see your hand, so I'm expecting something else. You only committed 2 Dawn here. I'm fully expecting you to not just die on following attacks. So you swung evenly with the Nami there, and I let it go. I could have countered out. I'm holding Porcelino. I'm still a little bit unsure about how the next turn's going to go, so that's why I let the Smoker, go to the trash and I'm staying flexible with my options, but seeing your hand now, of course, if I had kept that smoker, it would have been lights out even harder. So.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate.
Well, it's just that situation where you can't know what your opponent's holding.
Yeah.
But you have to know your game plan, and you have to know what are the things that stop my game plan, and I'm only going to spend my resources countering that rather than staying flexible, because I do think we're kind of at the stage of the game where I've already chosen a path. The radical beam pitch and the Otama pitch were me choosing a direction. I don't need to stay so flexible anymore. I've already kind of chosen my path.
Right.
So I'll take that. I think letting the smoker go there was a pretty big misplay. And Jet Pistol going to come down to take out the Garp.
Yeah, I could play out the Capone gang as a blocker. It's in the way. Or I can just remove the attacker altogether without even having to block it, which is just a better option. And just hope that my opponent doesn't figure out that I have 2 cards in hand. They get distracted by the jewelry pawning on board.
No blockers, 2 cards in hand. Let's go. I think that we just have simple math here to do before we go. And we're going to need to play around some cards here. Really just Punk Gibson. So I will say, like, even in the way that I played this one, I could have gotten got by Punk Gibson had you been playing that in your deck.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about Jet Pistol, obviously, because the smoker does say can't be KO'd by effects. So nothing to really worry about there. But, yep, just donning up and figuring out where to go. Here we go, and attack.
That's a Diablo Jambe is not going to do it.
I did have to quickly say, hey, does this do anything? And no, it doesn't.
I don't know what the trigger does for that. I think it gives your leader, like... Or, no, does it minus your opponent's leader?
It kills a 3-drop blocker.
Oh, that's very on brand for Diablo.
That's is a bit of an odd one. I wasn't expecting it, but yes.
That was the end of it, so we're going to switch back to the booth. Right, the old man got there.
He did, yeah. He got through on that one.
Yeah, and it was kind of woven together, too. I mean, finding that first smoker, then saying, like, okay, this is good, but it's not quite enough, and then drawing another card off the Great Eruption and finding another smoker and going, hey, well, it's actually, the second one's pretty good. And we're going to put them both on the table, and that's 7k pressure every turn. So I did like that. That was nice.
We did also get to see a bit of 8-drop could be the liability in the matchup. And so I definitely think, that's something that you probably in the future I would try and avoid a bit more. Obviously, you can't. There's some draws you'll have that you just need to rely on it. But
yeah, I mean, I think that was a pretty big flavor win too, right? Because this matchup, part of what contextualizes this matchup is my ability to remove gigantic single threats.
Right.
And a deck that's really kind of honed to say protect the queen here. I'm just going to just kind of crumble to that kind of strategy,
exactly,
right?
Yeah,
so we did see that, and also, props to me for making the misplay. I think I should have protected the smoker, but it is what it is.
Still got there.
Still, that's all that matters. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and if you are still watching, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like the content, there is so much more on our channel. Be sure to click through. We will be back for set 3 right after product releases. I believe we're planning to do a live stream case opening as well, so we'll let you guys know as we get kind of closer to that. But thanks so much. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. It has been an insanely cool year, and it's all thanks to you guys. So really, truly, thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the next video.